What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Being a Reaction. Today we're about to look at the Halo Anniversary How Not to Do a Remaster by Noodle. Let's go ahead and get it started.
Money making season and being broke is treason.
Hello, I am Noodle.
Well, he come in just bro, the ragdoll physics, man. It was just the lifeless body flung in the air.
Hello, I am Noodle, and as you can see, I am live at the Quiet Island. Today we will be discussing why Halo Anniversary should be documented as a war crime. However, this is the warning part of the video, where I tell you that if you haven't played Halo 1, I made it a whole...
Okay, so the other video we seen of Noodle, he was talking about how good Halo Anniversary is, I believe. So it's interesting. We're gonna hear him speak negative about it.
The warning part of the video, where I tell you that if you haven't played Halo 1, I made it a whole damn ass video about why you should. Instead of spoiling Halo for yourself, you should watch that. And then go play Halo.
He seemed to really love Halo 1, so
Halo Anniversary.
I want to hear this tape.
Because hold on, sir. Sir? 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 Sir?
Sir?
What? Do you, like my entire audience, have dick and ball?
What?
Yes. Then you need Manscaped, today's sponsor. And
oh, it's a freaking ad.
Pay my rent. No, you're not.
That was a wild transition.
It's a shaving and a hygiene for people who.
That was a wild transition. Shout out to him, though, man.
This box they sent me. The person shaved pubic sign was always this socially acceptable. When you nab the perfect package online, you get 20. Let me ask you a question. What is the purpose of a remaster?
What is the purpose?
Don't be wrong. Better graphics. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, better graphics are obviously better. Having it play better and run better, also important. I'll take it. However, and this is a big ass however, you got to maintain the character of the original. Otherwise, you're losing what made it so good in the first place. Halo has more character than I have headshots in COD. Which is like so many.
Oh man, he sucked.
The original Halo was made by Bungie, who partnered with Microsoft in 2000. Together, they loved and cared for Halo until their eventual divorce in 2007, in which Microsoft took the kids, but still let Bungie see them on weekends. After a while, though, Bungie moved on, and so Microsoft found Halo
analogy.
New stepdad, 343 Industries. Their first project was Halo Anniversary, a joint effort between 343, who presumably oversaw development, and Saber Interactive, who presumably did most of the work. Now, a lot of people like to talk shit on Anniversary. Not enough, but a lot of people. The thing is, I don't think most of them really get to the heart of the problem.
What's wrong with Anniversary? I liked it.
Anniversary, if you will. By far, the most common complaint you'll hear from fans of the original is that the remastered visuals are too bright. And they're not wrong, but to just point at a light source and call it a day is more than a bit reductive. Not to flex my gigantic pulsating brain, but the reality I think is a bit more nuanced than a botched gamma slider. If Combat Evolved was a little engine that could, Anniversary is the little shit that didn't. The way this game was updated signals to me either a lack of care or understanding of why Combat Evolved looks and feels how it does. Like, take the cutscenes, for example. Weird thing to start on, I know, but bear with me here. Combat Evolved did not have groundbreaking animation by any means, but it got the job done, and the vocal performances more or less made up for what the animation lacked.
You can't imagine the wealth of information, the knowledge, so much, so fast. It's glorious.
She is stiff.
Now,
her face
Saber's
is stiff.
Approach to updating these cutscenes seems to have been a sort of hybrid between adapting the original and implementing motion capture, which in theory sounds fine.
Right, it sounds good.
But on paper, a lot of things sound good. Like feeding your dog chocolate, or going pro in Smash. Motion capture does not invariably lead to a better, more realistic animation. It's a tool.
I love Persona.
Gotta know when to use a tool. Gotta use the right tool for the right job. I tell you to stab this man, when you use hammer? No. Point is, unless the dude in the suit is really good at his job, it might just be better to do some stuff by hand. Especially when fucking voice lines and physical movements are recorded separately, because otherwise the guy in the suit has to effectively mime with their body the acting decisions somebody else made in a recording booth. And that's hard. So hard, in fact, that unless you do it perfectly.
Why would they not just mic up the dude that that's doing the stunt work? That makes more sense to me. He's already doing the stunt work. Just mic him up. Instead of having somebody else do it, that's just increasing your budget.
Hard. So hard.
Vonvo said if you play Halo CE on original Xbox, you would agree that classic version is better. Classic version is good. I agree that they did brighten it up a lot because I switched through the graphics on MCC just to check them out on certain levels. And I agree that it is brighter, which can destroy the mood, but the overall graphics still look good in the anniversary version. It's not that big of a deal to me because that was my first time playing it, so I'm not like attached to the original. I ain't like super attached to it, but I can agree that it did lose some mood from the lights and all that stuff. But it's not too hard to put back. Like it's not a bad.
Unless you do it perfectly, people tend to notice. This shit is weightless.
Stun guy would have had a right voice,
and occasionally just actually broken. It reminds me of Food Fight. Do I gotta clarify? Do you need more explanation? But that's nothing. That's no big deal. Here's where the level of fuck goes from middling to obnoxious. Remember the animations from the original game and how they weren't great? Because gee, for an SD card of someone's brain, Cortana sure moves like a fucking robot, huh?
I leave home for a few days and look what happens. This won't take long.
So not everybody got the mocap treatment, obviously. Did they just forget to animate her face? What is this? A realistic iteration of a character moving in an unrealistic way is not a good replacement for the cartoony version moving exactly how you'd expect. You know, cartoonish. Just look at how much better the exact same animation looks when it's applied to the model it was designed for, instead of the one that comes from a different video game with a completely different visual style. They even changed the camera angles. You're not supposed to see it this way. It just looks worse.
I don't know. It looks pretty comparable.
With a completely different visual style. They even changed the camera angles. You're not supposed to see it this way. It just looks worse.
Let's see. Clear, unflattering expression, emotions 10,000 yards. Neutral framing doesn't say much. Jank. Over here it's a jank ass claw hand. That's funny. I don't know. From a person who's not attached, this point that he's making, I don't really understand it. I mean, I understand what he's saying, but I don't see it.
They even changed the camera angles. You're not supposed to see it this way. It just looks worse. You cannot just drag and drop high-res assets into an experience that doesn't take it into account, but just expect it to work. Mario and Unreal. The dated animation mixed with the overacting comes off so amateurish that it becomes distracting. And when your goal is to tell a story, distracting the viewer with weird technical hiccups is the worst thing you can do, because it actively removes you from the experience.
Not Andromeda.
Now, this isn't to say that a mixture of hand animation and motion capture couldn't have worked. Halo 3's manual animation holds up pretty good, and the motion captured stuff from Reach looks great. Both of these methods can work. I mean, Halo 2 Anniversary did the exact same thing as the first game, but over here it looks amazing. Probably because it was made by people who knew what they were doing. Oh, did I mean to say that out loud?
Yes.
You know, with a bit of budget, they could have completely overhauled these scenes and breathed new life into them. But no. Instead, what we end up with is the worst of both worlds. An experience that is at its best inconsistent, and at its worst, fucking embarrassing.
Yank me.
Okay, now we're getting warmed up. Y'all know the flood level, right? The big reveal. In
Yeah,
its
the flood,
original
yeah.
form, this thing is a masterclass in building tension. We go from 5 straight levels of gung-ho, upbeat, alien euthanasia to, oh god, what the hell? I don't like this. This is dark. I didn't kill him. How did he die? Oh, what? Instead of wave after wave of cubby bitch, enemies are scarce, scattered. Why are they running? How'd that dropship crash? What's this little man on my screen? Could it be foreshadowing? I don't know. I am a 7. Say goodbye to the
I am a
sprawling
7.
mountains and sunny beaches. You're stuck in dark swamps and cold corridors. It's a great tone setter, but it ain't perfect. The interiors of the level can feel foreboding, yeah, but the lighting and the colors here don't really say much to me. What I'd love is to see this level overhauled to more clearly telegraph a foreboding atmosphere.
That mission I did play in original graphics,
cold and
so I don't know how the remastered looks.
Is beginning to change the atmosphere, and also this is the swamp level. Some mist here, some reflections there, and a sort of green fog to contrast the foreground's purple falls right in line with Halo's color palette, foreshadows the flood, and in my opinion, just looks pretty good. A reimagining of this level, one that leads harder into the barren atmosphere and dark, moody lighting with modern-day graphical fidelity would be amazing. It can make the level's storytelling even more effective.
They didn't even use the Halo Reach Marine model. They used Reach Army model.
For real though? For real? Do you want to be scared? Because I don't want to be scared. No, nobody wants to be scared. This doesn't even look sci-fi. Here's what you gotta do. Turn that up. Put some blue, get that tan on it. Just fuck it, right? Already, so much better. So much better. But we gotta go further. I want this to look like it was made by the people who make gaming computers. Yes. 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 Yes.
Why is gaming computers like so extra in their design? It's very, very extra.
Yes! Yes! Yeah! Before, Saber, gotta say, love what you did here. Just awesome stuff. Just one question, did you play the fucking game? Did you do that? Why is everything so goddamn bright? What is the purpose of these? Whose bright lens flared idea was it to have all this wall redesigned by Tony fucking Stark? What exactly possessed you into looking at Halo and thinking to yourself, huh, not brown enough? Like, I get the sun is setting, which is another unnecessary change you didn't need to make, so inevitably everything's going to look warmer. But I mean, save for the higher contrast and the brighter colors, it almost resembles a 7th gen piss filter, which, mixed with the patches of dirt and the foliage that you added, gives Halo much more of an earthy quality. You know what Halo's not? Earth! We're in space! And your decision regarding our first interaction with an alien planet is to make it look more like home? What is wrong with you? The graphics are so far detached from their source material that Halo Anniversary is at points more indicative of a fucking fan project than a professional release. Because it basically is. The original Halo is simple by design. If it's on the screen, it probably serves a purpose.
I think I like the updated graphics. I think if they just made it darker, without all the lights, like all the extra stuff he was talking about with the in this shot right here, like if they kept all the extra textures and stuff on the wall but then made the mood darker, I think everybody would be fine, honestly, because it's not like they made it bad looking in the updated version. They just made it brighter, which again lost atmosphere. I understand that. Vonvo said, I really wish Halo 1 Anniversary Remaster wasn't a thing. I feel like everybody needs to experience the classic original, but you can experience the classic. You can switch. You can switch back and forth in the MCC. Like, I'll switch back and forth on levels, and you can see the difference. Like, I feel like if it was just darker, everybody'd be fine. Like, all these extra textures and stuff is fine. If it was just like a darker mood, everybody be okay.
Halo Anniversary is at points more indicative of a fucking fan project than a professional release. Because it basically is. The original Halo is simple by design. If it's on the screen, it probably serves a purpose. Its strength lies in its
But maybe I'm
minimalism
tripping.
and its restraints.
I could be.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but a lot of people won't, especially new players.
Even when you didn't mess that up, you just couldn't resist fucking with all the colors, could you? Here's a shot from the original. It's pretty good. It's very old. Now here's a new one. This is actually pretty good. There's a catch though. It's actually not the anniversary. It's a multiplayer map made by a different company. Here's the real one. I crave death. Halo has these cool ass purples and greens that made it feel so unique. Why are we not leaning way into that instead of piss yellow? Look, I'm aware these are subjective artistic choices that I happen to disagree with. But the problem with these decisions are that they stand in direct conflict with the narrative Halo tries to tell. Let's look at the cartographer. Its interiors are intentionally a little bit smoky, and a subtle update to the texture.
They used the PC port for Anniversary, which is not great. They fixed a bit later on.
More modern. Just kidding. Whoa, who likes vaporwave? Am I right, guys? BRB, gotta go make a night level look like it was filmed in a fucking studio. It's so fucking bad. It doesn't work. And okay, you know what made Forerunner shit work was its brutalist, minimal architecture. It felt imposing.
I think the reason I'm not affected as much as this about this stuff is because it's different. Like the new version is different, but you can still play the old version. Like you can still switch. If they didn't have the switch feature in MCC where you can go back and forth, I would agree with y'all that, or the Halo community in general, that yeah, you should have not made it as bright like that. But the fact that you could switch back and forth and see the original, at least, I'm not as, hung up on it.
And foreign, a feeling accentuated by how large these structures are and how unnatural they appear compared to the rest of the environment. What y'all have done here feels more like it's shooting for the aesthetic of a Windows Vista screensaver. Get it off! I don't know whether you felt like you had to go that route after lifting assets from other games with completely different art styles, but it doesn't work because you're not taking into account how such drastic changes in visual language impact the feeling or the flow of a level. Halo 3's got a cartographer. That's a great example. It's got a ton of callbacks to Halo 1's level design, but it reimagines them in a way that fits better into 3's combat and art style. The room is bigger, so the textures have more room to breathe. There's a lot more complex in Halo 1, but it works because color, lighting, and negative space are used to retain visual clarity, as opposed to Anniversary, which looks more like someone slapped a big shadow on a Forge map. Ugh. And it's not just the mood that they ruin time and time and time and time and time again. The gameplay suffers too. Here, let me explain.
Really?
In Combat Evolved, enemies are almost exclusively adorned in bright, primary colors, as opposed to the backgrounds, which tend to have a more subdued, neutral palette. This is intentional. At a glance, you already have all the information you need, and you're more prepared to kill that elite. I'd call it a Sangheili, but I have sex. So obviously this is great, and so obviously they had to change it. Now, enemies blend right into the background, and the backgrounds are complex as shit, all the time. If they weren't moving, it'd be like playing fucking Where's Waldo. No, awesome, great, love it. This may sound really obvious, but how a game looks,
they're going to put the reach AR and CE.
And changing those graphics
they switch
without
it and
taking
still
into
use the reach
account how it
shotgun.
will affect the game as a whole upsets balance. It leads to a messier, less polished, less engaging experience. I mean, yeah, maybe some people prefer it stylistically, but when the subjects and their setting become more difficult to tell apart, that is an objective disadvantage. I feel like if I gave you guys the Mona Lisa, you'd say the paint is old and we should fix it using fucking Crayola silly sense. You'd think the complete obsolescence of the flashlight would maybe set off a red flag or two. Okay. Halo makes constant use of light and dark to convey information and to set the mood. But when everything's real dark, you can't see anything. That's why you have the flashlight. Limited visibility paired with impending danger is a tried and true horror tactic, and from a gameplay standpoint creates an interesting new challenge for the player. Flashlight's got limited battery, making it a resource to be managed. Another piece to the combat puzzle. Is it annoying? Yes. Am I glad Halo 2 removed the battery? Also yes.
Okay.
However, The player having a flashlight allows developers to make places dark, which in turn helps build atmosphere. Who'd have thought? Anniversary says fuck that shit! I didn't even know it was possible for a game to feel overexposed, but here we are. Even when it's supposed to be nighttime, shit's lit up so good you'd think the fucking Messiah's returned. Every level, and I do mean every single level, feels like there's some kind of high contrast filter over it. It is textbook overkill. I want you to think about this for a second. It is now more tactically advantageous to switch to the new graphics than it is to actually use the flashlight at any point during gameplay, with the one exception being the flashlight tutorial. What the fuck? You know, it's ironic. I looked into the development of Anniversary, and it's not like they didn't care about Halo. They went really far out of their way to ensure the gameplay remained untouched. From the get-go, 343's design philosophy was to update the visuals and add features without interfering with how it plays. This was done by running a remastered version of the game directly on top of the original. All the physics, AI, animations, everything could be directly referenced in real time, eliminating the need to recreate any part of the game from scratch, which is honestly genius.
We can do this. We can make the game look like a current generation game, and we can do it by using the original Halo 1 engine.
However, this approach comes with some limitations. The most obvious thing being that nothing about the way Halo works can be changed, for better or worse. The geometry of the old game, hold on, actually, side note, for those who aren't aware, 3D objects in space are made up of polygons. This is true for movies, games, VR porn, everything. That's why
VR porn?
That's why you hear people talk about poly count like it's a big deal. Generally speaking, the real world isn't usually super blocky. So the more polygons something has, the more realistic it'll look, and the more teraflops per megashits you need in order to process all of it without. So, if you're making a remake, you're gonna want to update or replace the low poly objects with newer, high poly shit. But hold on. Our remake is still running on top of the original's geometry. So all the physics are based off that old stuff. So what happens if the old stuff and the new stuff is different? A piece of shit video game! There is nothing more infuriating than carefully lining up a shot and then realizing, after you take the shot, that, oh, sorry, you actually hit a tree that's a couple yards wider in width than you're able to see. Is it really that much to ask of you, Saber, to just make a tree the correct size? See, you're never going to run into a problem like that in Combat Evolved because the physics are based on the very specific problem, but actually see.
I understand.
Not a loose interpretation someone with their brain on the wrong way thought looked cooler. And no, I'm not saying that the new geometry has to be 100% accurate all the time, but oops, you shot another wall you can't fucking see. Should not be a reoccurring theme. It shouldn't even happen once. Noodle, you're getting too worked up. It's not a big deal. No, good graphics don't mean shit if the game is measurably worse to play. And most of the time the graphics are fucking downgrade. Why can't you be like your little brother? Look, I'm not just gamer angry because I didn't get something I want. That's only part of it. It's just, it's so frustrating because buried underneath this clusterfuck of post-processed polygons, there is a goldmine of potential. Go to your room. For every 27 missteps, the remaster will get something just right, or make a creative decision that enhances the experience, instead of just changing it because it can. The terminals often kind of suck, but a few are actually super interesting. The one with keys is amazing. The sounds in the remaster are better on almost every front. Oh,
did the original not have terminals? Or were they just like updated?
Ambience too. The soundscapes are super detailed and fit the environment perfectly. But it's all overshadowed by an overwhelming lack of restraint. A more is better approach to modernization that turns stark, clever level design into a convoluted mess. You know, I would say I don't know what the hell you were thinking, but you posted concept art, so I guess I got a pretty good idea. And you know what? This isn't bad. I mean, it's not great. It's still a huge departure from its source material. It's still too bright and verges on overcomplication, but it does look very pretty, and it invokes a sense of wonder. Same here. It's too bright, it's too complex, but it has a sort of foreboding energy to it.
CE anniversary,
That's the most important
Halo 2
thing. So how
anniversary
the
didn't have
fuck
terminals.
did we end up with this? What kind of butterfly effect have-an-ass event led us to a reality where we share oxygen with flat earthers, moon truthers, and this level design? What does blue and tan say about the story? Nothing. You can't just toss in details wherever you want. I can't just toss a joke in wherever I want and expect that to work. You have to look at the source material and really think about why exactly it looks the way it does. How does the layout guide the player? What does the color say about the tone? What can I do to improve on this design without losing what makes it work to begin with? There are tons of ways to implement bold or minimalistic art direction without sacrificing fidelity. Just look at Superhot, Mirror's Edge, Minecraft, Gris, Frogger, Katamari, Insight, Control, Shadow of the Colossus. Fucking Halo Infinite is a perfect example. It's crisp and detailed, mostly, but clean, almost cartoonish.
Oops, didn't mean anniversaries.
This kind of design would fit a remaster perfectly, but they didn't do.
Dang, so Halo 1 and 2 didn't have terminals. Terminals was kind of like the best part for real of the lore. Like, as someone who never played any Halo or didn't know anything about Halo, looking at the terminals after I played the game, showed me a lot about the story and the lore and everything. Like, it gave me a lot of detail that I otherwise would have missed, or would have had to like read novels and comics and look at the website of a trailer or some just like crazy stuff. No, they didn't come until 3. Yeah, and the Halo 1 and 2 terminals is pretty good. Pretty good to me.
This kind of design would fit a remaster perfectly, but they didn't do that. How do you think this impacts a newcomer's first impression? Think about it. Whether it's a remaster, remake, redux, reboot, soft reboot, sequel, prequel, or whatever he fucking told you to call it, when a newer version of an old thing is remade for modern hardware that more people have access to, with added features and bonus content and improved visuals and whatever else, it implies that this new version is the best version.
Yeah.
And at this point, I don't think I need to really tell you that sometimes that is just false. You'd be lucky to even
Yo, why does Spyro look like that?
That is just
why he look like that? Oh, he looks so derpy. Look at his eyes. It's like the eyes in a square head. Oh, he looks derpy as heck, bro.
It's false.
They did him
You'd
dirty.
be lucky to even find the old graphics. It's goddamn hidden so good in menus that I shit you not. I've had multiple people tell me that they didn't even know they could swap between versions until hitting tab by mistake. It's like they don't want us to remember that Bungie made this stuff. The credits and the thank you messages are all cut from the collection. Dude, Microsoft actually forbade anyone on the remake
that's
team
wild.
from speaking to Bungie veterans while making Anniversary.
Microsoft said you're not allowed to talk to Marty O'Donnell about these remasters. They were actually prevented from talking to me about remastering.
Wow. Why? What the heck happened between them? What happened between Bungie and Microsoft? Like, that's some petty stuff, man. They can't even talk to the dude. Marty made the music, right? They can't even talk to the dude who made the music. What the heck happened behind the scenes? We gotta find out what happened behind the scenes, because this is some extreme pettiness from a company, and we need to know why.
Prevented from talking to me about remastering the music.
Look, despite what my rose-tinted glasses might have you believe, I'm fully aware that the graphics age like grandma. No offense, grandma, you're just old. To me, somebody who grew up playing this game and was alive during a time when this was the best games had to offer, it's easy to ignore the low poly count, the blurry textures, the primitive lighting, the dated level design, the janky animations, and on and on and on. It's easy to forget that somebody today, especially somebody super young, doesn't have the same nostalgia for this lack of fidelity that I and many of you have. What to many of us looks charming is to many others just primitive and unappealing. For some, the barrier of entry for a game this old is just
The original graphics do look good in some parts.
Past a game with such a dated presentation. With the release of the Master Chief Collection on Xbox
In some parts, it do look good,
there's
and
a
I
whole
do
bunch of
like
people
it.
out there who continue to experience Halo for the first time. And whether due to personal preference or a lack of knowledge, the majority are likely to choose what I can confidently say is an objectively inferior way to experience the game. And that really sucks. But hey, 3-4 says they're taking inspiration from CE to work on Infinite. Maybe that'll be good.
That's the Skylander Spyro. The old Halo fans like old Halo games. New Halo fan like new Halo games. All right, so we gonna watch the Halo Anniversary Addendum SPV3 by Noodle. It's like a cardboard cutout. What if somebody was in there?
Hey, sorry, the door was locked.
So I didn't have time to make another real video this month, but since uploading that last video, there's been a huge influx of really interesting and insightful comments. And also people with moon brain. So we're gonna go over
Moon brain? What is that?
I'm done with Halo after that. I promise. First comment. Yeah, Halo's cool and all, but do you know a website where I can find sex toys for a reasonable price? Well, I'm glad you asked.
Whoa.
People who aren't 18 watch this channel, and you,
Sex
I don't think you
toys.
should do that, but you should skip here. This is not a joke.
Adam and Eve is a sex toy website. They're giving me money. This is
Yo, man, shield the baby. Shield the baby's eyes, man.
Exclusions apply. Next comment.
They
You
talking
forgot to
about
mention
grown-up
the ghost
things.
wall near the end of the library on the new graphics. Oh yeah, I actually did. In case it wasn't incredibly obvious already that Saber was pressed for time, towards the end of the library there's a little supply cache in the original that's obscured by a wall in the anniversary edition. The kick with those, you can walk through the wall and then see all the world geometry. Let's turn the
What?
brightness down.
You can?
Yeah, it's still ugly. Halo. Contrast evolved. You had me right up until look how good Infinite does it. Hey bud, great news. I just got word back. You're actually allowed to agree with me, but disagree with an example I use. You can have both. I just hate people like this, so remaster's better than the original. Yup, I just triggered literally everyone. But I literally don't give a shit. We need an SPV3 video. You won't like it. I loved Anniversary. I mean, that's fine. I wish I loved it. Look, I'm not here to guilt you into disliking something just because I hate it. My goal here isn't to make you think like me. It's just...
How do you say your name, bro? Healthful Drago. Oh, Healthful Drago. This video is hilarious. All right, bet.
to make you think and hopefully laugh once.
Thanks for the follow,
Halo
man.
Dated, but I think it looks beautiful. Hey, look, I think Halo is charming. I made a whole video about it, but its age is showing. There's no denying that. Lots of good arguments in this video, but could have done without all the excessive screaming. Very cringe.
Soy inducing?
I'd love to see you do a remaster. Oh, you know, I didn't realize that because I don't have a massive team, publisher money, and infinite time, I'm actually not allowed to criticize video games. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind moving forward. Do Halo 2 Anniversary now. A lot of people wanted me to talk about this, but to be honest, I really don't have much to say about it. I
like the Halo 2 Anniversary.
The cutscene music is no longer adaptive, or how they botched certain weapon sounds, but that's what they are. Nitpicks, not fundamental objections to Saber's entire approach. I like Halo 2 Anniversary. I think it's an improvement.
Yeah,
for the
me
most
too.
part. Didn't you contradict yourself? You said it'd be tactically smarter to use the remaster's graphics instead of the flashlight, but a little earlier said that enemies are harder to see. So which is it? Again, it comes down to faithfulness to your source material. This level was made to be played in the dark, not in a deep-fried JPEG. What cutscenes use motion capture?
He called it a
I think
deep
you're full of it, dude.
He called it a deep fried JPEG.
faithfulness to your source material. This level was made to be played in the dark, not in a deep-fried JPEG. What cutscenes use motion capture? I think you're full of it, dude. The answer is none. Not even in the remaster. Yeah, one sec, hold on.
Mocap.
I agree with you, but despise the use of the phrase objectively inferior in an opinion piece. Yeah, I kind of regret that word choice. Nothing in art is objective, really. I think it's good. It's just made to look better. Bruh, bad video. You are so nitpicky. Almost all of this guy's points are banal and stupid. I really love how so many people can watch a 25-minute long video of a dude carefully explaining why he feels a certain way, and then leave a comment saying,
"Nope, you are nitpicking and biased. I win, bye-bye,"
thinking they've added to the conversation. Hey, you're wrong, I'm right. See, now this guy's got a point. I can see everything and nothing simultaneously. It's extremely clear that all of the art and visual problems with Anniversary are a result of bad management. The quality of work is very good on its own, but just looks off when compared to the source material. For the most part, I agree with you, although I don't really like describing it as, quote, off when compared to the original, because that implies that Anniversary is a competent piece of work until compared to something better, which isn't true. At the end of the day, the only people who know for sure how this happened are the ones who did it. I'm much more comfortable examining the artwork itself than I am guessing why it looks this way, because at least with the game itself, I can confidently break down how it falls short. Have you ever tried SPV3? Style-wise, it does a much more interesting job than Anniversary. Interesting is a nice way of saying worse. Sorry to be that guy, but frustrating? Okay, look, man, you know, sometimes when you're a child, you think you know how to say a certain word. And then, you know, 22 years go by and nobody corrects you on that. And then you say frustrating in a serious tone in front of 500,000 people. It happens to everyone. The real crime is that they use the Gearbox port of the game rather than the Xbox original. Yes, I'm aware, but plenty of people have already explained and stated the shortcomings of the Gearbox port. I don't think I need to be the 100th guy to point out something everybody already knows. But if we don't turn up the lighting, how will you see all the cool work we did? You lost me when praising it. That game looks terrible for a 2021 title. Gee, I wonder if maybe
Halo
that's because
6,
it's going to be running on an Xbox One S. Honestly, I had no idea how many people hated Infinite's appearance, and I think a lot of that stems from a misunderstanding of the difference between graphics and art direction. In my opinion, Infinite's graphics are passable, if a little underwhelming.
Yo, Kayla, thanks for the follow.
It's all about that visual clarity. I agree with
Downrate said didn't even notice it. Frustrating wrong. Me neither.
I also hate how they changed the music. Yeah, because if there's one thing about Halo that aged poorly, it's definitely the music, right? We need an SPV3 video. We really don't, though. So I know about action lines and script writing, but not visuals. What does that mean? So yeah, I could have probably explained this better. The action line is a classic 2D animation principle that can also be applied to 3D. It helps us to more clearly convey motion through dramatic, clearly illustrated posture. Retrospectively, I think the example I used is more of a framing thing, but what I was trying to say here is that there was a reason the shot was framed that way. It's intense, dramatic, and accentuates Cortana's movements, whereas the update is flat, lifeless, and exposes more of the jank. I could smell the art major through my screen.
Yo, Kayla, chill. Fuck. Yo, Kayla, chill said, I told Alexa my car is scary, and she kept repeating, there's 1972 entities in my house until I told her to shut up. What the heck? Why would she do that? Why the heck would Alexa do? Alexa's like trolling you, bro. You gotta get her under control. She's trolling you.
Exposes more of the jank. I could smell the art major through my screen. Holy fuck. That is the most creatively insulting thing I've been told in a long time. It's not a remaster, it's a re-release. It's not a remaster, it's a reskin. I'm iffy on your opinions because you showed remakes when talking about remaster. You're confusing a remaster with a remake. Is this really the hill y'all want to die on? If you really want to be a fucking point Dexter, Halo Anniversary is really its own thing. Because no other game I can think of runs the remaster on top
it's
of
still
the
really
original
creepy that
in
she
real
keep
time.
repeating that over
I
and over.
intentionally spoke in broad
Yeah, like
terms
she got
because
possessed
the
or
stuff I was
something.
talking about can apply to remasters, remakes, reboots, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter what you call it. I have sex, says the YouTube anime. Okay, you know what? Infinite
I
doesn't
have
look
sex.
anything like CE. Evolved wasn't meant to look cartoony, just colorful. Old interviews show how Bungie wanted to make this alien world feel real. It's easy to misinterpret old games as cartoony, but that was never the intent. I think you misinterpret those old interviews. Visual media doesn't have to be realistic in the traditional sense to feel real. Accurate isn't realistic, but it feels real as hell in the sense that it feels grounded.
He called it accurate?
Doesn't have to be realistic
It's Akira. He called it accurate. Am I hearing this wrong?
in the traditional sense to feel real. Accurate isn't realistic, but it feels
I swear he's saying accurate.
realistic in the traditional sense to feel real. Accurate isn't realistic, but it feels real as hell
I hear
in the sense
accurate.
that it feels grounded, especially in the context of its own universe. It's incredibly detailed and brilliantly paced. You can easily lose yourself in it. Cartoons don't necessarily lack realism. They're an exaggerated interpretation of it. Okay, take all the money you made from this video and do it yourself. Noble 6, how much money do you think I have? SPV3 is the answer. Best music, gunplay, graphics, and atmosphere. You'd be right if you weren't incredibly horrifically wrong.
I need to see SPV3. I've never seen it
Canonical
before.
reason for dark interiors being so bright is because Spartan 2s have augmentations that allow them to see in the dark. Anniversary is more lore friendly. Do you seriously think that Saber botched the lighting in the name of lore friendliness? More importantly, do you really think that level of pointless continuity is worth the visual downgrade?
But I mean,
I like their work on Halo 2 better.
At least let them turn their flashlights on because it took me so long to get them to do that.
Noodle should play SPV3. Listen, there's a reason I don't want to talk about it. When it comes to a gigantic, multi-million-dollar production like Halo Anniversary, I'm more than happy to tear it apart because of how much talent and money is involved. We should really be holding them to a higher standard anyway. SPV3 is the polar opposite of that. It's a community mod made by passionate people in their spare time. That's
Let's
great,
see it. I want to see
I
it.
don't want to knock it. It almost feels like I'd be punching down. The last thing I'd want to do is make anybody feel bad for doing something they enjoy. Even if I think the end result is terrible.
Can't be that bad.
This is a real bummer note to end on, huh? I interviewed Marty O'Donnell. Expect that sometime. You need to play and then make a video on SPV3. And SPV3. You gotta play SPV3.
Yeah, you gotta play it, man.
Why? Why do so many people want me to talk about SPV3? It's not just the comments section. A lot of people talk about this mod like it's better than vanilla Halo. There are fucking news articles about it. I'm about to be pretty harsh here, but it's not because I'm mad the mod exists. It's honestly amazing how much work has gone into the thing. For God's sake, they've been at it for more than 10 years. That's like 8 years. That takes some serious dedication. I'm only harsh because of the staggering amount of people who are out here legitimately arguing that this mod improves Halo, that 343 should take notes, and that this is the way the game was meant to be played. I actually spoke to an ex-developer for the mod who told me that the defining
If you don't show me what SPV3 look like, then I'm gonna need to look it up for myself. Or maybe he will right here.
Whether or not a feature was added is whether people thought it was cool. Which would explain why SPV3 feels to me like such a loose collection of predominantly bad ideas. Like, why did you bring the battle rifle and the marksman rifle, but keep the pistols zoom? They all do the same thing. It's just bloated. Why does every level look like a washed out, messier version of itself? Why are the levels redesigned in a way that conflicts with the original's intent? Why are there so many lens flares? Why is the game rebalanced?
That is a lot of lens flare.
Why are there so many lens flares?
That's a lot of lens flare.
Why is the game rebalanced to be worse? Why does Cortana look like a Wizard 101 avatar? Why is there a terminal in the game that uses literal incest?
The Wizard 101. I forgot all about that.
Wizard 101.
Oh, man.
Why is there a terminal in the game that uses literal incest as cheap shock value and nobody seems to care about that? I don't want to make anybody who worked on this thing feel bad for just trying to have some fun with a great game. But I'm also not gonna lie to you and pretend like I think any of these changes were for the better. So there you go. That's my opinion. If you disagree with it, that's completely fine. But it does mean that you're wrong and less intelligent than me. I am correct and very smart. That's why I have a YouTube channel. YouTubers always have good opinions. Thanks for watching.
We always got good opinions, man.